Hey guys, welcome back to the Analysis. Once again, this is your host, Andy Gamer, and today's video I'm going to be doing a movie review. Right now, I know I haven't been posting a while. That's because I've been trying to go and see this movie as early as possible, so I could get the reviews out earlier. So that's what the thing, right? Well, I finally got to see it, and to be honest, though, I can't really. There's two things I have to bring up first. I can't really review this film without giving my stance on Unbreakable and Split first, and I don't think I can review this film without spoiling it. I have to talk about spoilers, right? Um, but that's okay because the film has been out for a while now, so you guys had more enough time to catch up and see it. But first off, let's get this out of the way with Unbreakable and Split. These are two films I've already seen. I watched them prior to Glass, especially Split very recently. With Unbreakable, I'd say I seen bits of it like way back in the day, right? And then recently I watched the whole thing. Now when I watched the whole thing, I already knew how the ending was, so I just watched it to see what it was because I heard crazy universe thing that Net was building up. I watched Unbreakable, and the first time when I watched out the whole movie, I was like, oh, and I mean, I could see why some people, was critical of it. I see why some people was critical of the film, but I still did have a good time seeing, Bruce Willis and, you know, Samuel Jackson characters interact with each other. The second time I watched it, it was a much better experience because I knew all the stuff and the music, the theme, it was it holds up very well actually. With repeat viewings, I'll say that. I would give that a 9 out of 10. Yeah, it's up there because you watch this and with all the current comic book films out nowadays, you watch that, it feels like a recent movie for a film that came out in 2000. That's one of the things I liked about it. Now, that out of the way, right? Unbreakable. Now, on the Split, a film that I watched very recently, a week ago. I'm a bit more critical of that since it actually came out 2 years ago, so it's much more recent. Um, the one thing I did like about Split though is that the quality of the film that it was for a much cheaper than Unbreakable. It was I think it was like 1/10 of the production budget. It was pretty impressive. James McAvoy really sold that film for me. And I know compared to Unbreakable, Split was like it was definitely more focused on James McAvoy character, but the other characters was kind of I mean, there were some decent moments with them, but boy, that acting, with the multiple personalities, he brought humor, he brought tension, he brought a lot of action. He brought all of it to the table in that movie. My gripe with the film was probably more how to do it. I'd say it had to do more with the way how it, ended. Not the actual ending, but like the way how it ended with him and the girl and the whole beast concept. I was like, I mean, it's cool and all, but I was a bit, mm, right? I would say I'd give that an 8.5 out of 10. It does some things better than Unbreakable, but it also kind of falls a bit short in some aspects, right? So that's my stance on those two films. I didn't want to do separate videos on them because I felt that it would have been, a bit much for me to do that, right? But Unbreakable 9 out of 10, Split 8.5 out of 10. Now on to Glass. Now, if you guys remember the ending of Split teased, Bruce Willis' character coming back with the Unbreakable theme song, right? Right, his name is David Dunn, and he looked pretty good though. But over here, he grew out his beard and whatnot, so he looks much more older here. Now, with this film, there's a lot of feelings I have with this film because unlike Unbreakable and Split, this film has a lot more. There's a lot more story beats to it. You know, in terms of the plot and stuff such. Um, it does borrow a lot from Split and a lot from Unbreakable in terms of, you know, the structure of the story and such. That opening sequence, probably one of the best I've seen so far for any recent movies. I mean, like the way how it opened was like, okay, you know, you get to see James McAvoy character Kevin Wonder Crumb, comes back right on the spot, right? So you're like, oh, okay, and then they show him what the, you know, the cherries that he kidnapped. So okay, they get right into it. Bruce Willis character shows up, you know, they're showing you him doing regular superhero stuff now. Right? He's a superhero because that's what happened on Baker, right? He uses his security code as like his, you know, mask. You know, called Batman mask and Bruce Wayne. Right, so that was kinda like with Bruce Willis. You know, I think he is labeled the overseer. Now he has to find out who kidnapped the girls. No, they actually got right into this pretty quickly in the opening. He starts fighting James McAvoy and does some pretty good. It's actually pretty well directed. And the best part about it is that I didn't really expect it because, well, first of all, you know that they were going to fight each other, but you didn't expect it to happen in the opening sequence of the film. So that was a pretty nice touch. Now it ended obviously because they're not going to just have them fight to the death right at the beginning, right? So they ended it abruptly by having the law enforcement and this character called Dr. Ellie. She steps in to stop them and she puts them under her care in some detention like center for people with mental problems. Apparently she says that she's going to try and she's going to try and convince him that, you know, they are not what they think they are, right? That's how there's illusion and they have some sort of mental disorder, you know, they don't have no superpowers, right? Now, here's the thing about that, right? Now, I like this part of the film because of two reasons. It slows down a little bit so you can be able to soak it in what it's all about. This is where the main of the movie, I think, starts to kick in. You know, where you see she interacting with the characters and you get to know about the characters. The interesting thing here though is that he uses M. Night uses deleted scenes from Unbreakable as, you know, more backstory to Bruce Willis character, which is pretty interesting. Also, he uses it to set up a connection, a more legit connection between Split and Unbreakable, you know. Also, I like the interaction they had between the characters and the actors, you know. Um, it was pretty funny. I think over here James McAvoy definitely steals it again here. You know, he brings the humor with the multiple personalities. He he really does put on a show with, you know, the way how he plays a beast. He's very huge actually. He puts on quite a good bit of muscle for the role, which is very impressive, I would say. Also, the one thing that sort of like turned me off is Shama Jackson's character, you know, Mr. Glass. Apparently, like, for the majority of the movie, you see him like showing up in scenes, but for the majority of the first and the second half, when you start seeing him again, and you're seeing him, you know, you're cutting back to him, he's not even talking at all. It's only up to a certain point he starts to, like, you know, speak, and then, you know, they start like building up more with him. Uh, yeah, I think it was a bit weird, but when he started like, when he started bringing more focus and attention to his character, I was like, okay, pretty cool. They did some pretty interesting things with characters. Um, the one thing I didn't like though was that it probably another thing I have to say that probably disappointed me. This one quite disappointed me though was how they handled David Dunn's character after the first act. He sort of gets silent a bit. And to be fair, this is the movie's named Glass, right? So I kind of expected to focus more on Elijah Print, which it did, compared to So that I was expecting David Dunn to be like the main focus. But even though he and Glass is from Unbreakable, which they both were the main focus. Right, so but I think that they could have put some more with him in it. Some more scenes for him. But other than that, it was pretty okay for the most part. Now, here comes the main course, the third act, where everything was building up to it. They set up everything in the first and second act. A crazy first introduction, and they set it up very nicely for this third act where they're going to start fighting, and you kind of get the more superhero feel because Elijah Glass, he unveils his plan to take over the city with some sort of like um, bad thing he's going to do in the main city with a bunch of people. So he kind of he forces David Dunn to come back out and fight him, right? All this take place after they end. Eventually, they got out of the sort of like detention center or whatever the place was that they was in. Right now, the cool thing about this is that the scenes are very well done. The actors, they all did some pretty good stuff here. I like seeing them, the way how they was directed, how they was fighting each other was pretty cool. What really disappointed me though is how it ended. Really, the third act was going pretty well, pretty good, until eventually a certain twist happens, and well, there are several twists to be honest, which is kind of surprising. Unlike your usual M. Night Shyamalan stuff that you get. Over here, he takes it to the next level because over here, the first twist I pick up in the third act is apparently Kevin Dunn's character died in the train crash, the thing that I mentioned earlier. He was in his father was in the same train as David Dunn, and he died, right? Well, he decided to turn on Glass because of this, because he realizes that Glass set him up and was using him the whole time. He turns on him, and Glass is very fragile, so he just hits him one punch to the chest, and he dies because his bones are breakable very easily, right? So that was it for him. He continues fighting David Dunn until the people start to intervene and to try to get him to stop it. And the thing that disappointed me the most was well the Beast, he said he's going to go into the city and show everyone all this stuff, right? But apparently, the doctor girl at that tried to contain them, she called reinforcements. Someone sniper shot Kevin's, and apparently he ends up dead. The thing about it though, the reason why I didn't really mind this is because, well, they used Casey's character. She came in, she tried to de-escalate him from going, and somehow she was able to do it by summoning his original personality and not all of his others. So when she was able to snap him out of the beast form, he was he was regular human. So that's how he was able to get killed, I guess. Um, it was a bit of a far fetch for me, but I was okay with it. I was like, okay, you know what, whatever. Then apparently, what the next thing, this one, I was just like, oh man, they took Bruce Willis' character and drawn him in a puddle. And the thing about it is when I sat there watching it in the cinema, I was just, damn, it was just disappointed because I was like, I serious, he goes through all this stuff just to have someone drown him in a puddle. Feels very empty for a character like him to go out like that. I kind of get the message behind it a little bit. I mean, there's multiple ways you can interpret it, but I understand what they were going for. I just think that the way how that ended like that with his character just so. Long story short, it starts off very good. It slows down and then it spreads itself out to get you a bit more interested and fill you in. The third act, everything happens and you're like, you're ready. And then when it ends, it just all just like it's like getting punched in the stomach repeatedly. When you saw the way how that was ended, I was just like, oh man. But the one thing I have to say though, and this is what probably did save the film for me. After he died, all three of them died basically. Um, they cut back to Miss Dr. Ellie, the one who was containing all of them. They slowly start to show you her backstory through a flashback when she was holding David Dunn's hand, and they explain to you what she really was. And this corporation that was like that is actively they were actively preventing superheroes from coming to the surface to be exposed to the real world, right? And that was what she was doing. So part of what she was doing was like to prevent all of that from happening. So, but now here she was just like, okay, she had to call them in and take them out because she couldn't stop it. And I was like, it made more sense when I saw it unfolding. I was thinking that it makes sense, but I still find it was a dick move. But afterwards, the mastermind being Glass, he set everything up very interesting. This is the one thing I like about the film that really saved the whole thing for me. The way how M. Night wrote his character, that he uses intelligence to analyze all the stuff in the building, take the cameras and all the other stuff. What he did is he set up something in the security room with all the cameras to stream and record everything that was going on, and then eventually he saved it and was sent to his mom and David Dunn's son and such, and the girl who was Casey. He sent the footage to all of them. I don't know how he did it, but he did it, and they were able to upload online. So the disappointing part is they all died, but they never really got disappeared or like how that secret organization was trying to keep them under the rug. Thanks to Mr. Glass and his very cunning mind, he was able to plan a way to still have them reach the surface to get them out, and then he was able to find out about them. Right? So that was probably my for me what helped save the film. He was able to still accomplish what he set out to do. You know, like in the movie, the girl, she said herself, he wasn't trying to get into the city to do what he was saying. The whole thing was a suicide mission all along, and she basically played into it because the way how they're slowly, um, taking out on his plan, showing you what he was doing, you realize that they were all playing into it, and I'd say that's pretty impressive. Like in comparison to Baron Zemo and Lex Luthor's plan from BVS and Civil War, I think David, Mr. Glass here, his plan is far better because he accomplishes what he's doing, and every bit of his plan he set all that up very well, and was able to follow it when to the end. So yeah, that's the one thing I was able to take off from the film. I was like, okay, they all died, but at least they're not like they were completely erased, right? The downside to it though is that, I mean, to be honest, Bruce Willis, as old as he is, I didn't expect him to be interested to continue in the character. I only wanted to see how he was here. I had a feeling he was going to go out, but the way how he went out, I just didn't agree with that. But aside from that, I think everything else the film handled very well, actually, in my opinion. My only gripe was, the way how they handled David Dunn, his character. But other than that, James McAvoy, his character, Samuel Jackson's character, they were done pretty well. I would say overall, I probably would give this film. I would say, I'm trying to see. I would give it a 7 point. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It's very good actually. There were a lot more problems in this compared to Unbreakable and Split, more obvious problems, but I think for the most part it accomplished what it sets out to do. M. Night, he accomplished what he needed. He started off this thing in Unbreakable, he connected it with Split, and Glass. He basically gives you the main course, and that's about it, right? It's a trilogy, a nice packed little trilogy, very contained. It's all on him, no big budget studio stuff, extravaganza. It's pretty simple, and that's one thing I like the most about it, is that it was a small, simple thing that he made, and he's able to make it as smart and interesting nonetheless. So yeah, I guess that sums up my review for Glass. It was a bit thing for me to review this because the way how this film was, it was a bit for me too. But I could see why a lot of people were disappointed in this film, because the one thing this film showed is that if your third act fails, then your whole movie is pointless. But for me, not really. But for some other people. But yeah, anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and be sure to check out my other videos. And I guess I'll see you guys later.